no. Oh dear Lord, no. Hello guys and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at Craig Button's top 50 best NHL prospects, and ladies and gentlemen, this one is a doozy. We're going to be going through this list and seeing the craziest picks as well as the ones I agree and disagree with to ultimately see what Craig Button sees as the best prospects in the league today. So make sure you watch till the end as we go through the complete list, and hit that subscribe button if you're new for more hockey content just like this as we lead up to the draft this year. Now, as you guys know, Craig Button usually is a little bit eccentric with his draft rankings, a little bit eccentric with his prospect rankings, and a lot of the time sways from consensus, and this one definitely did. But because there's so much wackiness to this list, let's just go right into it with the headline being Gauthier and Nikishin lead Button's top 50 NHL prospects list. Now, just for reference, you're not going to see any Bedards, Fantillis, or Carlsson. These are just the best players outside of the NHL, the best prospects in the league. At least that's what Craig Button thinks. Now let's just get straight into the top three, because this is where I want to start things out today, is where we really get crazy. Already in this list, you got Cutter Gauthier, Alexander Nikishin, and Will Smith as the top three. Now, here's the thing. I could absolutely get liking all of these players. Cutter Gauthier has really stepped up his game the past couple of years. Alexander Nikishin is doing incredible things in the KHL, even though I definitely wouldn't rank him this high. He is one of the top prospects in the NHL, and Will Smith is a dynamic player. He's going to be really awesome for San Jose, but at the same time, having all three of these guys over a Matvei Michkov right now, I don't know about that. Then you have the rest of the top five with Leonard at number 4 and Matvei Michkov at number 5. And this one is just confusing to me, honestly. Again, I like a lot of these players. I love a player like Will Smith. I love Gauthier. Leonard is an absolute dog. But Matvei Michkov being 5th right now is honestly just disrespectful to the player he is. Now, if this list was just based on who's the best player right now, then sure, Cutter Gauthier might be a more complete guy at this moment, but it's not. This is about players projecting to the next level, and I'm sorry, Matvei Michkov at 5 is just blasphemous. This guy is going to be an elite stud, already has been in the KHL offensively. You can see 38 points in 45 games, and even though he's gone a little bit cold, he has 1 goal over his last 5 games, that's fine. He's 19 years old, he's already proven so much, and will be a dynamic player with Philly in the future. To have him at the 5th spot is just disrespectful to me. He was 4th in my draft rankings, but only behind Carlsson, Fantilli, and of course Connor Bedard, which is not a bad three to be behind. And even though I like a player like Leonard, I only ranked him a couple of spots behind. To me, in terms of pure talent and potential, Leonard's gonna be a great player, but Matvei Michkov can become one of the best in the NHL, and that's the real difference to me. But I promise you, this is not the worst of it, because the rest of the top 10 is about as confusing as it gets as well. Going on to the rest of it, you have Calum Ritchie, 6th place. You got Gabe Perreault, Axel Sandin Pellikka, Tom Willander, and Jonathan Lekkerimaki. Now, this tier is especially weird for me. I like Calum Ritchie. I think at 27th overall, Colorado got themselves a great pick, and he's been progressing well in the OHL of Oshawa. 60 points in 37 games on a team that doesn't even have another point per game player. He's been extremely impressive and has a great scanning pedigree. His playmaking is solid, but I just don't know if he's going to be this elite player that ranking him 6th would land him to be. And we talked about Gabe Perreault a couple days back and how much of a steal he's looking for the New York Rangers. But even at number 7, that might be a little bit much for me too. This is not going to be a player that is going to be an absolutely dominant guy at the NHL level, but a great perimeter player that can bring some fantastic complementary skill and be just a great top 6 winger in the future. And again, another case where to me it's quite a bit high in Perreault's case, though I do love to see him get some love here, but number 7 is quite a bit much for me. I do love to see Axel Sandin Pellikka get some love at number 8. To me, he was really underrated throughout the 2023 draft process, and getting him at 17th overall is looking incredible for Detroit. He's been unreal offensively in the SHL this year, and the World Juniors I thought had some fantastic moments as well. Then you have Tom Willander at number 19, and to me, this is incredibly rich, at least from what I've seen this year at Boston University. He's had some good offensive moments, but the guy has a lot of work to do defensively, at least what I see, and obviously there is still a lot of time. He was drafted just last year, but I want to see more muscle on him, a lot more physical traits, really improving before he's a top 10 guy for me. But I guess I could kind of see it, though. Again, ahead of some of the guys available, I just could never put him this high. Jonathan Lekkerimaki inside the top 10. I mean, the guy has been a goal scoring machine in the SHL this year. Giving him his flowers, I don't mind it. But now we go throughout the rest of the next 6 picks, and this one to me is really quite aggravating. We go on to Rutger McGrody, Dustin Wolf, Noah Ostlund, Yuri Kulich, Jimmy Snuggerud, and Lane Hutson. This one to me is kind of the aggravating one because you have D like Tom Willander super high at number 9, in fact. But to me, Lane Hutson was a way better player in his first year at Boston University than Tom Willander has been. Now, obviously, points aren't the biggest thing, but you compare the two. In BU in his first year, he had 48 points in 39 games. And to me, defensively, they aren't too far off. I would give Willander the edge, at least when it comes to the frame that he has. I think he will eventually be better defensively. But in Lane Hutson's case, I think he far outpaces him in terms of the creativity and the playmaking there. And to me, I just don't really understand having Lane Hutson at this point, who's already proved to be much better, 6 spots below Willander. I just don't get it. If you're just basing it on a draft position, maybe, but in terms of the players we're talking about here, come on. Then we go for the rest of the top 20, and it's pretty goalie filled. You have, after Lane Hutson, Askarov, Dmitri Simashev, Wallstedt, and Devon Levi. And you guys already know how I'm going to feel about this. To me, Jesper Wallstedt still is the best goalie prospect in the NHL. I don't care how his first NHL game went. To me, he has the best fundamentals out of everybody right now. And having a player like Askarov, who, yes, has been great in the AHL this year, but I think just kind of has a little bit more maybe exciting mechanics, but I think a less streamlined game. With Wallstedt, I think he's going to be a lot more poised. I think he's going to be a lot more consistent once he adapts to that NHL level. So I disagree with that. I do like seeing Dmitri Simashev this high, though I might even have him a little bit higher. I mean, he's been extremely underrated in the KHL. He hasn't been putting up massive point totals, but Simashev continues to be an absolute stalwart defensively, and to me, one of the most underrated D prospects out there. Then we go on to the rest of the top 25, and if we're talking about players being underrated, I mean, David Jiricek at 21, to me, is extremely underrating him. Yes, this season hasn't gone as planned, being sent down from the AHL and the NHL and everything like that, and the circus that is Columbus right now, but the physical traits he has, the defensive acumen he was able to show at the NHL level already, the booming slap shot, to me, there is so much potential in Jiricek's game, and having him outside of the top 20, I just don't agree with that. I'm sorry, man, that Willander pick just makes little sense to me. Having over Lane Hutson, having over David Jiricek, I just don't see that aging too well. At number 22, Logan Stankoven, love to see him getting some love. Honestly, I might even have him a little bit higher than this, but still love the appreciation. Now, we keep getting a little bit weird here. At number 23, Craig Button has Oliver Bonk, and I do like some of the talent level that Bonk has. I do think there is a lot of translatability issues. A lot of the goals he's been scoring in front of the net on the power play this year, I just don't think is going to happen at the NHL level, let alone Philadelphia wanting to try that in the first place. But I do think Bonk has some good traits. Maybe he'd be in the top 50 for me, but at number 23, above Simone Edvinsson, let's stop this. And then we keep going. Dalibor Dvorsky at number 26. I definitely don't agree with this. You have a player like Olen Zellweger at number 29. And I'm sorry, Zellweger has been incredible with every system he has gone through and has been incredible in the AHL with the San Diego goals this season. To me, there is no way where he's not a top 4D. Having him at 29, and again, another disrespectful pick to me, just like Jiricek was. And if this list hadn't jumped the shark for you already, it is going to with these next 5 picks. 31 is Shakir Mukhamadullin, 32 is Neil Yurov, at number 33 is David Reinbacher, 34 is Ville Koivunen, and at 35 is Frank Nazar. Having Shakir Mukhamadullin at 31 to me is just insane. He has some good offensive traits, but there is just so much clunkiness to his game when he's in the defensive zone that I just don't really bet with him too much. And I'm not really going to go to bat for David Reinbacher that much compared to other people. But even then, having Reinbacher below Mukhamadullin is insane. His team has been awful in the NL this year. But to me, the skating characteristics, the potential he has in the two-way game, far surpasses what Mukhamadullin could be with San Jose. I'm sorry, Reinbacher is a better prospect than Shakir. Let's stop this craziness. And then you keep going. I do like seeing Ville Koivunen on this list. I think he's one of the more underrated prospects out there. He has been awesome in the Liga this year, 46 points in 51 games. But having him over Frank Nazar is where I kind of just draw the line. I like Koivunen. I like some of the balanced aspects he brings to the game. I think he's going to be a solid defensive player in the middle six that can bring some good punch as well. But Frank Nazar is just a pace-pushing machine. You saw how good he was in the World Juniors for the U.S. Honestly, could have had way more assists than he did. He's been awesome with Michigan as well. A true play driver in every sense of the word. And to me, having him outside the top 30 is pretty crazy, but also below some of the players they have here. I just don't understand it. I mean, we just keep going. Yager, Easton, Calum. These are two players I'd rather have over Koivunen as well, especially Yager, who just continues to be an absolute machine in the WHL this year. You have a couple of interesting picks as well. Even Del Mastro, I mean, I do like him with Chicago. I think he'll be a solid, maybe fourth defenseman of the NHL level. But at 39, it's just kind of an interesting range for him. I think he could be okay and could be a solid player and a solid puck mover as well, but nothing that's going to absolutely push your team over the top. At 39, I mean, it's whatever, but also, again, considering some of the players below, it's, again, pretty crazy for me. I mean, you even have him over a player like Cutter Gauthier, and kind of like Reinbacher compared to a player like Shakir. I'm not the biggest fan of Cutter Gauthier in the world, but he's also going to be a really interesting physical middle six center for Arizona that has been incredible in the WHL this year in every aspect of the game. And having him at 40th, I mean, to me, he has taken some pretty big steps in the past year, and maybe this is the range I would probably have him at, but again, below even Del Mastro, I mean, I just don't understand that either. Okay, you know how I said that at 31 through 35 was kind of where this list jumped the shark? This next couple of players would be jumping the entire universe. It would be jumping the entire solar system, because at the next 5 spots, I just want you to watch and see what is happening here. Holy friggin' crap. Now, here is the thing. A couple days ago, we made a video about Shane Wright, what's happened to him, how he's progressing in the AHL, and I talked about how he would maybe be around 6th, 7th in a redraft. To me, he's looking like a solid top 6, maybe second line center that can bring some great dual threat offense, can bring a good mix to the game, a good mature level to the game, and now I thought he's still going to become a really good player of the Seattle Kraken. Rodwin Dionisio, this is insane. This is where this list just goes bonkers for me. Now, granted, I love the moxie that Rodwin Dionisio has, and as a 5th round pick, I mean, he could become something. He has a lot of really interesting offensive traits, but the skating is just absolutely brutal, and I just don't see that being a translatable aspect on the NHL level. I see it really holding him back in the end, even if he's been fantastic in junior, but having him above Shane Wright, I mean, this is just clear disrespect to me. I think Dionisio could be an interesting, maybe bottom pair offensive D if he's able to hit, and that's if that skating is able to improve somehow, even though those mechanics are awful. With Shane Wright, all the mechanics are there. Everything is going to be fine. He's going to be a good NHL player at the very least. He's going to turn into something. Having him below Dionisio, I mean, I can't see the reasoning for that. I honestly just cannot. Shane Wright is still going to be fine. This is honestly just Shane Wright hate at this point. Even I am lower on Shane Wright than I have been. But having him at this spot, having him below Dionisio, are we kidding here, man? Below players like even Del Mastro. I mean, this is just insane. I think Shane Wright should absolutely be higher. In saying that, Elias Salomonsson at 45. I think a pretty good pick. I like Sally Monson, so there we go. Then we go through the last of the top 50, and we go into the last 5 picks here, being Riley Heights, Maverick Lamoureux, Fabian Liesel, Gavin Brindley, and Jackson Blake. I didn't really expect Craig Button or really anybody to give Gavin Brindley the respect that he deserves. At 49 is, you know, I mean, and if you're, again, going by draft position and where some scouts had him, then sure, whatever, that spot is fine. As a player that I saw as a top 15 pick this last year and has been absolutely dominant with Michigan this year, to me, he should be higher. I mean, I absolutely see him above players like Josh Doan and Yanni Nyman. I mean, they could be solid NHLers in my opinion, but Gavin Brindley brings a special pace to the game that you really don't see often, and the intensity he brings as well for his size, I think will really translate well. At 49, I think this is going to be a really interesting one. Hopefully it'll be higher in a next year's list or something, but Brindley at least is in the top 50, which, I mean, being a second round pick last year wasn't a guarantee by any means. Now on to the last pick inside the top 50. I actually really like seeing Jackson Blake here. Maybe not as high as I would put him, but he's been really underrated in the NODAC system over the last couple of years, over a point per game last year and well above a point per game this year as well. Great for the U.S. team in the World Juniors last season too, and I really like him. I think he's becoming one of the more underrated prospects out there. I like to see him on this list. I like to see him getting some love, so at least there's that. But I gotta tell you, man, this list was absolutely wild. there were some things I agree with, some players getting some love that I love to see. I like to see Will Smith this high. I like to see a player like Yuri Kulich getting some love. I like to see a player like Simashev getting love as well. But there are a lot of picks on this thing that confused me, to say the least. But I want to know in the comments down below what you guys think about this list. What did you agree? What did you disagree with? To me, I mean, we've seen a lot of Craig Button lists in the past. We saw one where he ranked Vitaly Kravtsov as the best prospect in the NHL. So I don't know if it quite goes on to that level, but still, this was a very interesting look into a different perspective, let's say, in the NHL prospect world. Not one that I necessarily agree with, but definitely got me talking, that's for sure. But let me know all your thoughts down below. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more prospect content just like this all throughout the year. And of course, click on this card for all my prospect talk right in one playlist for you guys to binge watch right in one playlist. My name is Nathan, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.